All right, welcome to the Tribe Digital Marketing Series. I am joined today by Katelyn Fossen, Senior Project Manager with LeadMD. Katelyn, thank you for joining.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Josh.
All right, so we get a little bit of a different spin today, the project management side of the house. I know you're exposed to a lot of different things.
Mhm.
What would you say is you're most passionate about in marketing?
I would say with coming to LeadMD and being a little bit more in that agency world, I think that just the people, honestly, are my favorite thing about marketing and having that project management side of things and having to deal with my resources and allocation and working on multiple practices. I think that that's been my favorite thing is working with different insights to what people are best at, right? You know, we've got our tech and data people, we've got our go-to-market people, our rev ops, our talent. So I think that just interacting with them on a daily basis and having that just learning train never really stop, I think has been my favorite piece of marketing is the people.
That's cool. And so I assume that's not just the internal people, but the marketing people on the outside are pretty cool too.
Yeah, exactly. And the type of clients we get to work with, across the different practices and figuring out like the challenges that they're trying to solve and then how we, our people's brains come up with what we're suggesting and what, those solutions look like is really freaking cool.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, marketing, it's a good reminder for folks that marketing is a people game. It's people
Hmm.
communicating to people and trying to make an impact. And a lot of that typically happens, especially this time of year with events, user
Yeah.
conferences, things like that. I know we have some clients that you work with in the medical space that rely heavily on face-to-face interaction between their sales teams and physicians and healthcare
Hmm.
providers and things like that. None of that's happening.
Yeah.
So what are
It's
you
kind
seeing?
of
What
a
would
little bit of a
be, I know it's crazy, right? So what are you seeing that's working? What can people do to pivot into a digital world and some strategies that they might want to think to deploy right now?
I think, I watched your video with Andrea. I think that she had a really great point of just, well, what are those people really attending those conferences for? And
Yeah.
what's the point of that they were trying to drive home, or what was the main takeaway bringing back to their business? So driving into like what that really was, what they were trying to get out of it, whether it's having a round table instead, or, just instead of switching to completely digital just for the heck of it, because everyone
Yeah.
else is.
I like
So
that.
I think that's an important point is to just figure out like, okay, well, what the hell was the goal anyway? And then just getting creative. We've had to, be a little bit more just client focused, even more than we already were, with getting creative with our own resources. I had a conversation with our head of training yesterday, Rob, and he was like, how can I even be helpful, in this time and be helpful with from a training perspective and maybe try and go a little bit more client facing. So we're getting creative with our internal resources. And I think that's something that I can advise and suggest for everyone else is like look at who you have on your team and who you have on the bench and how you can resource and utilize them the best with the talents that they bring to the table.
That's super interesting because especially the piece about the client focus, right? Like at the end of the day, your clients are the people are the ones that are going to get you through the tough time.
Yeah.
So having a hyper focus on them and providing them as much value as possible can really help get through the tough time while we're trying to figure out what goodwill we need to build for the long term with future customers, maybe is the way to put it, or prospects.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you hired your team for a reason, and there was that one, specific factor about them that
Yeah.
turned you on to them. So it's like be creative, like troubleshoot, brainstorm, whatever you can during this time and come up with something cool. Something that maybe you didn't service to clients in the past and where you see the need taking place right now, because it's definitely a shifting and an ever-changing market and world that we're kind of having to adapt to right now. So just getting creative and figuring out how you can best utilize your resources is definitely my best suggestion.
Yeah, I love that creativity with the resources you have. I think that's a really powerful message because the last thing we want to do is see people start losing their jobs. So now's an opportunity to really get those people to get their thinking caps on and get rolling.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Put the thinking cap on, bring your best foot forward and see what can be delivered, because the clients are going to be open to it.
Yeah.
They're shifting too. So they're flexible. We as PMs are always flexible. So it's all about what you can create together. I think it's a really powerful opportunity and time, and everyone's guard's a little bit down now too. So it's,
Yeah.
you know, everyone's even more flexible and open to new things now than ever, I think.
Awesome. Big fan of that message, Katelyn. Thank you so much.
Yes. Awesome. Thanks for
All
having me.
right. This will be posted soon.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yep.